Hello, welcome back to the other side of the sale. This is Michael Jackson coming at you one more time. I want to thank everybody for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Um, I was sitting around thinking about my next video, and uh, I got a message from somebody that says, if you were um, someone that was getting ready to come to jail, how would you survive your first night? And I was thinking about that, and I was kind of want to share with you my thoughts on how to survive the first night in jail. So, if you ever get arrested, or if you ever have an encounter with the law and you get taken to jail, there's a lot of things that you need to be concerned with, a lot of things that you need to consider going into this situation. Your first night in jail is going to be traumatic, especially if you've never been arrested before or if you've never been in trouble before. If you're somebody that's encountered law enforcement, if you've done a few runs in prison, it's a little different. But the first thing that happens whenever you get arrested and you get in that squad car and the fear of the moment sets in, and you're driving and they're taking you there, the first thing you're going to feel is that vulnerability of being helpless and being vulnerable, because you're going to be handcuffed in the back, you're going to be sitting in a squad car, and you are at the mercy of how whoever's in charge of your custody is going to treat you. You have some officers, um, city, state, county, sheriff, whatever they are, that are going to be professional, respectful, and they're going to do their jobs. And then you're going to have other ones that are maybe not as professional, maybe they're having a bad day, and they're going to treat you uh, unprofessional, and they may even treat you like shit. There's been plenty of stories of horror stories of people getting put in custody and end up dead. So there's a wide range of things that people have experienced and seen on TV and different things. So all that stuff's going to be running through your mind and your brain whenever you're going through this whole process in the first place, because that fear is the fear of the unknown. You have no idea what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and how it's going to happen. So let's say you get arrested, you get handcuffed, placed in a car, you're traveling to whatever jail or facility they're going to take you to. Usually, if you're not combative and you're not, high or anything like that, they're going to take you in where the jail or whatever facility you go to, and it's called a booking area. And the booking area is where they're going to process you in. They're going to pat you down, make sure you don't have any weapons on you, make sure you don't have any drugs on you, make sure you don't have any injuries, and you're going to be brought up, and the officer's going to give the paperwork to wherever the intake person, deputy, correctional officer, whoever it is, and then they're going to go start processing you in. And basically, that process is going to be, they're going to place you either on the wall or somewhere, and they're going to start patting you down and make sure you don't have anything on you. Then usually they're going to ask you some intake questions about if you have any medical conditions, if you're diabetic, do you have heart problems, seizures, etc. And then somewhere along the line, they're going to get a nurse or somebody to do an intake process on you and find and ask you those similar questions to see if you're going to be fit to be put in some type of general population, or where they're going to try to figure out how they're going to house you. And when you go to jail, they got to figure out if you're a misdemeanor or a felon, pretrial misdemeanor, pretrial felon. And then they do housing according to that. But then they're going to process you, strip you out. I don't care if you're a man or woman. At some point during this process, you're going to get stripped out completely butt naked, and they're going to check you. They're going to tell you to turn around, squat, and cough. And if you have anything up inside you in your rectum area or anything like that, when you turn around, squat, and cough, that cough usually makes that come out. So if it's not deep up inside you, it's coming out. So that's how they detect and find drugs on people that are being booked into prison or into jail. So once that process is completed, then they're going to give you any appropriate paperwork. They're going to inventory your stuff. You may get a receipt then, or it may just go into your packet, but you will need a receipt of everything that you had on um, your personal property, like your clothing, your wallet, if you had money. All that stuff is detailed, and a receipt is made, and you have to sign it. Once all that's done, then they're going to figure out housing and where they're going to put you and things like that. So most of the time in jails, there's just pods with people, and they just put you in accordingly. And there might be an area or a cell that might only house 2 people, but they have 6 people in there, and they give you what's called a boat sometimes, and the boat just looks like a big canoe with the top cut out of it, and it looks like a sled. Sometimes they do that because they don't have the beds and it's overcrowded, and they give you what they call a boat. They give you a blanket and a pillow or something, and you're dressed out into your yellows or oranges, whatever the color that the particular facility has for you, and then you're placed into wherever you're going to be for a while. And then when you go to jail, it's very it's going to be very new. The sights, the smells, the sounds, and the inmates that you're going to be in there with, it's a crapshoot because you don't know what type of person is going to be in there. You're going to have people that are crazy. You're going to have people that's going through withdrawals off of drugs. You're going to have drunks. You're going to have all these things that and they're just going to throw you in there. And the best thing I can tell you is when your first day in jail, your first night in jail, is just to be quiet. Don't engage too much with it, people. Don't get in anybody's business. Stay out of everybody's business. Don't ask questions. If somebody asks you a question, keep it short and simple. Don't give too much of your information out, because inmates are good at figuring things out. And once they get your information, all it takes is one phone call home or one little video visit on the tablet. They look you up on Facebook, they look you up your family or whatever, and the next thing you know, they got a whole bunch of information on you. So the best thing you can do your first night in jail is not talk to anybody. Be a loner. The best thing you can do is just be a loner. Stay away from people. Don't get involved. If you see something, keep your mouth shut and do your own time. That's the key to surviving in jail, is you don't want to get into politics. You don't want to get into cliques. You don't want to get into, especially any gang activity or anything like that, because you're new and people's going to be testing you, and they're going to be looking at you and trying to figure you out, and you got to figure them out. And the best thing you can do is shut up. And that's just a veteran rule that anybody's done time, is just stay to yourself, because there's a lot of gang activity. There's a lot of politics. People are running stores. People are trafficking drugs. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on in that jail. And there's a series on TV called 60 Days In, where they send regular people into these jails to find out all the problems they have in these jails. And if you've ever seen that show, it's pretty realistic, because the stuff that they find out in these jails is absolutely true, because jails are very tough to run, because there's so much turnover of inmates, people coming in and out, and it's hard to keep structure, and it's hard to keep any continuity in the jail, because there's so much fluidness in the jail. There's just constantly people in and out, and there's never the same people, and the pods are changing over quite frequently, things like that. And as far as being an administrator, you have to manage all that. But I would suggest your first night in jail is to keep your nose down, keep your mouth shut, don't talk to nobody, stay out of all the politics, and you know, don't gamble. Because a lot of times they see a new guy come in, they say, "Hey man, let's hit the card table," and there'll be four people at the table, you and three others, and you don't know that the three other guys are actually playing against you and playing you for a sucker and making you lose on purpose and setting things up like that. So you owe money, and then the next thing you know, you're in debt. You stay away from the gambling, stay away from the drugs, and stay away from anybody that approach you about wanting to join a gang or get in a gang. Stay away from all that kind of shit. And I also suggest the first night in jail that you don't sleep much. You better know your surroundings. You better know who's around you, who's sleeping by you, all that kind of stuff. Because guarantee you, there's going to be people that are going to try to do stuff to you in jail. And the way to survive is keep your head on a swivel, do not relax, and do not take anything for granted, because you're not going to be safe. Um, they have correctional officers, and people call them guards or whatever, and they do security checks, but they're not around you all the time. So if somebody's wanting to do something to you, they know how to time that out to where after an officer does a security check or whatever, they know what time it is to strike. So you got to be mindful of all that. And then if you do all these things your first night in jail, you're probably okay. But the thing about it is, you just have to be ready for the unexpected, and you have to be ready to take action. So if somebody runs up on you or something like it, you got to be ready to defend yourself. If somebody, asks you for money, you got to say, "I don't have anything. I don't have nothing." Now, even if you have to lie, because they don't need to know your business. You don't tell anybody your business. You don't tell anybody your charge. They're going to try to get it out of you. And if you have any type of sex charge or charge against a child or rape or anything like that, that's the last thing you want them to know, because they will hurt you. Child molesters and things like that in prison and jail are your targets, because everybody hates a child molester. Everybody hates people that does stuff to kids. So if you got any of those types of charge or related charge, you're in trouble. And I would recommend you ask for be put in special protective custody, because you're not going to make it. So, what you need to do is to survive your first night in jail is you need to have yourself to yourself. You don't get anybody's business. You stay to yourself. Be a loner if you gotta be. Don't bother asking questions. Don't be nosy. Keep out of everybody's business, because nobody wants you in their business. So stay the hell out of it. And the main thing for you is to see the magistrate or the judge the next day, to get your bond posted and get the hell out of there. If you can do all those things, then you have a shot of making it to your first day in jail, your first night in jail, because that's going to be the longest 24 hours in your life. A lot of times when they first put you into jail on the first night, they put you on suicide watch, because that's the most vulnerable time for you, because such a traumatic event happens to people for the first time. The first thing they do is stay into the world, and their life's over with. And people commit suicide all the time in jail. So you just got to keep all that stuff in mind. Make sure that you keep your mental strong, because if you're not mentally strong, it's a death knell for you. You have to be mentally strong. Be respectful to the officers. Don't talk shit to the officers. Don't antagonize the officers, because if you antagonize an officer, they might take their entertainment out of messing with you. and you're in an unbalanced relationship, and when you are definitely the odd man out, and you're the weaker person in that relationship, so you're going to lose every time. So keep this in mind. But my suggestion is always stay on the other side of the cell, and you won't have to worry about that. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. But always remember, stay on the other side.